everyone, welcome back to the Singapore Transformation series. Continuing from episode 1 on Turf City Transformation, this is now part 2 of the series where we take a closer look at the neighbourhoods, what's been happening there, recent transactions, and whether the upcoming projects are actually worth your time. So if you caught the last episode, we talked about the possible launch price for the first GLS site at Turf City. So now the big question is, if prices hit above 3,000 PSF, is it still a safe entry? Let's break it down together. But first, make sure you like this video, share it with your friend, and hit that subscribe button. Now, let's take a look at Bukit Timah's demographics. Bukit Timah, as most of us know, is mainly made up of private housing, lots of landed homes and private condos. Because of that, the area naturally has a much lower population density. We are looking at around 85,000 residents and about 24,000 households. So to give you some context, Punggol has close to about 200,000 residents, Queenstown has about 100,000 residents. And both areas have way more HDB supply, which explains the higher population. So when we talk about living in Bukit Timah, it's really a more spacious, low-density environment compared to many other Singapore neighbourhoods. Since Turf City sits between King Albert Park MRT and 6th Avenue MRT, we're focusing on the condos along this stretch. In this area, there are roughly 12 freehold condos and 4 leasehold ones. Most of the freehold condos here are already 15 years old or more, but despite their age, resale prices are still holding strong, around 2,100 to 2,400 PSF. For the 99 years condo, the newest one are Mayfair Gardens, Mayfair Modern, 4th Avenue Residences, and the oldest is Garden Vista, which is about 19 years old. Price-wise, we are looking at Garden Vista transacting around 1,900 PSF, the Mayfair projects around 2,100 PSF, and 4th Avenue is closer to 2,500 PSF. One really interesting thing to point out is this. One of the youngest 99-year condo in the area, 4th Avenue Residences, which has just TOP in 2023, is still hovering at an average of 2,500 PSF, which is pretty close to its launch price a few years back. That doesn't sound right, does it? And the youngest freehold project, Royalgreen, actually has the lowest annualized capital gain among the condos here. So, this brings us to a big question. Does this mean we shouldn't buy new launches in this area since they don't seem to make money? To answer this, we need to take a closer look at these two projects and you'll start to see why their price performance turned out the way it did. Bukit Timah is famous for being a school belt area. So the residents here, especially those living in condos, are mostly family with kids. Most of them want to be within 1 kilometer to their preferred school or just want to stay nearby for convenience. Because of that, they usually go for bigger units, typically 3 bedrooms and up. And many of them stay for 10 years or more. Now let's look at Royalgreen. Quite a number of smaller units face the main road. So during the last phase of sale, developer had to offer discounts to move them. The blocks are pretty close to each other, so the development feels pretty cramped. And many of the layouts are not making good use of the space. For example, overly big balcony that stretches from living room to the bedrooms, or excessively big aircon ledge. Do note that this project belongs to the non-harmonized era, so the square footage for aircon ledge is included in the overall square footage of the house. Out of 285 units, only 86 are 3-bedders and just 22 are 4-bedders, which is very little for a family-focused neighbourhood like Bukit Timah. Now, what about 4th Avenue Residences? About 1/3 of the project faces main road as well. 2/3 of the development faces the west sun, which is a huge factor for family. In fact, all of the 4-bedders face the west sun. And only one block is actually within 1 kilometer to RGPS. And again, out of 476 units, we are looking at 320 are 1-bedder and 2-bedders. Only 24 units are 4-bedders. So the big question is, why so many small units in a family-centric area? Here's another interesting point. Both Royalgreen and 4th Avenue are developed by Allgreen. Now, I'm not saying that Allgreen projects are not good, but when you have 2 projects by the same developer launched around the same time, located less than 500 meters apart, there will definitely be challenges. Why? Because both developments are targeting the same group of buyers in the Bukit Timah area. So the developer can't aggressively differentiate one from the other. Otherwise, they cannibalize their own buyers. Apart from Royalgreen being freehold and 4th Avenue being 99 leasehold, there isn't a strong unique selling point that separates the two. So the natural question is, what's going to be different about Turf City? And this is where things starts to get interesting. Turf City is the first development in the area that falls under the new guideline. URA rule change that increased the minimum average unit size from 70 square meters to 85 square meters. This means developer must build larger units, which naturally lowers the overall density on the same plot of land. So bigger units attract homestayers. Homestayers equals natural stable demand. Stable demand means price sustainability. This directly solved the problem we saw at Royalgreen and 4th Avenue, where the unit mix didn't match what Bukit Timah families actually needed. The next point, URA and HDB have been moving towards creating self-sustaining township, meaning each area has an ecosystem of upgraders. Even in more upmarket areas, having HDB supply nearby creates a natural ladder from HDB, condo to landed. Right now, Bukit Timah doesn't really have that natural upgrader flow because it's historically a high-end district. So, the new HDB supply plan in future phases will inject fresh demand into the private condo market, helping prices stay stable and sustainable. The third point leads us to Land Betterment Charge and why Turf City has an advantage. So what is LBC? It's a tax developer pays when the value of the land goes up because they are allowed to build more or build bigger. Introduced in August 2022, it combines 3 older fees under SLA. The downside, when LBC goes up, developers' cost goes up, and eventually buyers end up paying more. Now, here's the advantage for Turf City. LBC rates for this area have not been revised upward yet. So developers bidding now are doing so before any future LBC hikes. So this means lower land costs, lower overall development costs, and potentially a safer entry point for buyers of the first few plots. This gives early buyers a true first mover advantage compared to the later GLS sites. Alright, so to sum it up, I think there's so much to look forward to in the Turf City transformation. More bigger units, lower density, a new HDB upgrader base, and developer entering before any LBC hikes. This is a completely different and new playing field for Bukit Timah. And for buyers, that means the first few plots might just be the safest entry we've seen in Bukit Timah in a long time. And of course, this is just the beginning. Once we get new updates on the launch of the first plot of land, I'll be doing another video specific to that development. So stay tuned for that. If you want more deep dives like this, make sure to like, share and subscribe. And drop your questions in the comments below. Thanks for watching, I'm Noelle. I'll catch you in the next episode. We've got even bigger transformation coming up.